Hello, everyone. This is Dr. Hockman. I'm the medical matchmaker, and I have the amazing Dr. Latifat here from MoneyFit MD. Dr. Latifat has the coolest story, so I will let her tell it, but I'll give you kind of a preview that she was at one point totally broke and now is completely financially free, and she helps other doctors to do the same. So, welcome, Dr. Latifat.
Thank you very much for having me here. I'm excited to hang out with you again.
I'm so excited. I want to hear your story. We'll talk about some easy tips that that anyone watching can do, and I want to hear all about your book that came out this week. So,
Absolutely.
tell us a little bit about your story because that's pretty interesting.
Yeah, hello everybody. I'm Dr. Latifat. I'm a GI doc. I'm a mama of three little ladies, ages 5 to 10. They keep me alert. And I'm also the founder of MoneyFit MD, which is a platform that is 100% dedicated to helping women physicians be financially free and liberated so that we can live life and do exactly what we're born to do in the season of our lives. That's my goal. But that sounds super fancy. And I was not born like that. I was exactly opposite of that. And in fact, if 7 years ago you told me that I was going to be publishing a book or having a podcast or doing a freaking live video, anything out in the world, I would tell you you're smoking some kind of crack. And the reason why is I was this person that didn't really like talking out in public per se. I went through I moved here about 20 something years ago with my siblings. Our parents stayed primarily in Nigeria. We lived there, went to UCLA, went to school in LA, San Francisco, New York, and then fellowship in California. And what that meant was I was dragging around a bunch of debt. That's all that means. I knew zero about money. It was so bad I didn't even know how much I owed or who I owed. And it wasn't because I wanted to like mess up my future or anything like that. It was literally because I just didn't know. Nobody had taught me, and I was surviving. Right at that point, before medical school, during medical school, I had family responsibilities. My siblings and I lived together in a house when I was in medical school. And so for me, student loans were like a source of money to be able to do things like pay rent, pay electricity. Our youngest sibling was in high school, then she was 12 years old. Was she 12 years old? I don't remember how old she was, but she was in high school. And so it wasn't like we were able to have all those resources that we needed. But so I was really grateful for my student loans. But I went through residency, had my first kid in residency, got married in residency, had my first kid, and then fellowship, had my second kid, and then attending, I had my third kid. And, my entire goal in life was to be a GI physician that was excellent at what I did, took care of my patients. I loved GI. I wanted to do that forever. And I still plan to do it for a very long time. But I was so grateful that I had this aha moment where I was looking towards the end of my fellowship. I looked around and I just had the insight that a lot of attendings were burning out in medicine, and that medicine wasn't what I thought it was going to be. Not that it wasn't going to be something that I wanted to do. I still wanted to do it. I still loved it, and I still do. But I knew that it wasn't going to necessarily be that thing that guarantees the security in the sense of the word. And the reason why I say that is because I realized that, okay, if I want to do GI with a focus in Crohn's disease and ulcerative colitis, that I believe is best done in a large hospital system or an academic hospital. And so I was going to be working for somebody. And if I'm working for someone, I have a higher chance of not being able to use my voice. And for me, things that are important is being able to take care of my patients to the best of my human ability. I want to be able to say that, okay, I agree with this, I don't agree with this, I think this is ethical, this is not ethical. And I don't like people being taken advantage of. So if I cannot have my voice, for me, that's really not compatible with the life that I want to live. So I had this aha moment of like, okay, if my finances are in order, it means that I have a chance of being able to have a voice in the things that I want to do. It means that I can take care of my patients how I want to take care of it. It means that I don't have to like cut corners if I don't think it's ethically correct. I mean, thankfully, I didn't have to make those decisions later, but that was the main reason why I said, okay, I need to figure this out. So, what do I owe? I know there's an Auntie Sally Mae that sends me letters all the time. Who the hell is she? Right? And that's how I kind of really started from scratch like that. Like, what is a 401k? I didn't know what a 401k was. I tried learning multiple times. It just wasn't sinking in. And at that point, there really wasn't any good spaces where I felt like I belonged to go ask for the help that I felt like I needed. So I literally had to, there's a shame, there's a judgment, there's a, how dare you not know money? If you don't know money, how can you be a physician? How can we even trust you, right? All those things, all those thoughts that I had in my head that were also being perpetrated by things I was seeing online. And so I had to figure it out. I did the whole Google thing, I read books, I figured out, and eventually what I found out was that this stuff wasn't even hard. I was like, what the heck? This stuff isn't even hard. And I spent so much time avoiding it. I spent so much time. And the reason why it went from being hard to not hard was because I worked on my mindset. I worked on my thoughts around it, right? I started figuring out that I didn't have to make it be like everybody else was doing. I could make it in my own way. So it was almost like I started translating money into a language that made more sense to me. I started working on my own relationship with money, on my relationship with myself, like literally things that nobody talks about when it comes to money and wealth building. And then I was like, okay, I'm doing this. So I was doing great. We were investing, but I still thought that I was the only person that was struggling that didn't know anything. But eventually, like a lot of physicians, when we find out things that are good, we don't like to keep it a secret. We want to share with the world. So people started finding out that I knew how to translate money into a language that made sense. I knew how to bring joy and fun into money. I knew how to do money imperfectly and successfully, and I was living it out. I was taking care of my patients excellently well. My reviews were great. I got like best doctor multiple times. So, like, literally, my knowing that I had money helped me be a more authentic physician. And that is what I believe led to the success that I had in medicine. And eventually, that is what translated to me starting MoneyFit MD, because I truly believe that more physicians, and if I may, with authority or lack of authority, I would say that every physician needs to get great at mastering our money so that we can become even better physicians and decide what we want to do in our lives in the seasons that we may know or not even know is yet to come.
While you're telling me that story, I thought about a 30 Rock episode where Tina Fey says to her boss, I want you to teach me that thing that you do, where that rich people do, where you turn money into more money. So that's what you do. You turn money into more money.
Yep, yep. And without you needing to like hustle like crazy, without you needing to think you have to sacrifice your wellness and that. And it really is because no one is teaching us the core of money. No one is teaching us like the character of wealth. No one is teaching us like the timeless principles, right? Everybody focuses on money and thinks that money is all about the dollar and wealth is all about the dollar. That is literally 20%. The rest of the 80%, people are not talking about it. So we're banging our heads against the wall, trying to get this 20% into our brains, when what we need to do is like figure out the rest of the stuff that's actually important. And then the actual number part becomes really easy.
And you have an interesting perspective about financial independence versus financial freedom. Tell
I
us a little
do.
bit.
I do. And, the thing is this money in general, a lot of the financial education, number one, they're not made with women in mind. And a lot of it is not made with physicians in mind. We're getting more and more information now, which is really helpful. But it's not made with women. It's not made with physicians in general. We're getting better. But especially, it's not made in the setting of understanding the wellness and burnout that we have in medicine. The systems and the definitions we've had in the past, it's not working right now. When I have women whose entire goal is to hustle it to the ground so they can pay off their debt, we want to like work crazy and not see our kids pick up every extra shift and not see our kids, it's leading to us burn out of the thing that we fell in love with and want to stay in love with in the first place, right? So there's that culture of that. And the other thing as well is there is this arrival fallacy that we're so used to in medicine that we bring it now into finances. We say things like, when I become an attendant, when I become a medical student, I'm going to be so happy. When I become a resident, I'm going to be so happy. When I become an attendant, I'm going to be so happy. And now we bring that mentality into money. What's like, when I become financially independent, I'm going to be so happy. And what ends up happening is if you go with the traditional with the finances at start, which is investing in the stock market, index funds, you'll be able to retire at the age of 65. There is nothing wrong with that. But in a culture where 40 to 60% of physicians are burned out, in a season, unfortunately, where physician suicide is as high as it is, if we don't take a look at money in the setting of burnout and wellness and the lack of, we're going to be doing ourselves a big disservice. So, in a lot of my platforms, you are not going to hear me talking about FIRE, which is financially independent, retire early. You would never hear me talking about, because a lot of that has to do with grinding to the death, which is, I don't subscribe to that. And people can say, well, it doesn't have to be, but the thing is, you have to understand what you're dealing with. You're dealing with physicians that are high achievers. You give us a goal and we're going to follow to the death. That's what we do, right? So it doesn't help us. And so I will never use that term in my stuff, except to tell you that I don't agree with it. What I do talk about is more financial liberation and also true financial freedom. And the reason why I use the word true financial freedom is, by definition, when you're talking about financial independence, it means that you have the equivalent of what you would normally spend in a year times 25. You have that in net worth. That's the whole idea about financial, like being financially independent. Financial freedom is a spot that you're in where your passive income, where your non main gig income can take care of your finances, can take care of your life at the standard that you're living in right now, which is fine. What I find though is many people are going to be financially free, but still not be able to take, in terms of numbers, but will not be able to take the leap of asking themselves the important questions of, what do I actually want to do with my life? What do I actually want? Like, what does an ideal practice of medicine look like for me? What is living life on my terms look like for me? What is being well in medicine look like for me? What am I supposed to be doing with this season of my life? Like, am I supposed to like be advocating for people? Am I supposed to be working part-time, full-time? Like, the important questions that I believe are important for wellness, most people that are even financially free don't even ask that question. So the term that I prefer to use is actually, I say, true financial freedom or financial liberation. And financial liberation is a state where you are, where your money is aligned with the stuff that you truly want to do in your life. So you're not living your life chasing money, but instead you're using money to live your life. And right now, well, I guess we're doing this live. I'm actually in the middle of a 5-day event right now that is towards my book launch, but also I'm teaching people this, what I call like the 5-step recipe that truly leads to financial liberation. And 80% of that is not numbers, only 20% of that is numbers. But the key is, we have to know our whys. We have to have our compelling why. We have to know why we're special, because we truly are special. And their traits, their characters, their thoughts that we have that helps us succeed, right? We have to know our numbers, right? It's not complicated. It's always, I tell people, there are always 2 to 3 numbers that you need to know at every single moment, at every single season of your finances. And then we'll talk about things like diversifying income source.
So a lot of what I see is, so I help doctors find jobs. A lot of what I see is doctors picking jobs that pay the most rather than picking jobs that will give them the best work-life balance, and it almost is blinding at times where, you say, well, this job, it's like you decide you're going to take this job and then you justify, like, no, they said, XYZ, when probably deep down, the physicians know exactly what's up. Um, I'm curious to hear what your thoughts are on that, and also anyone watching, if you ask questions, we can see. So ask
You
Dr.
know,
Latifat.
To be honest with you, I'm all about having our cake and eat it, and I don't think it has to be either or. Like, take a paying job, or have a good quality of, or have, like, it doesn't have to be either or. But the important thing, honestly, is being honest with ourselves about where we are in this season of our lives. And a lot of times there's this fallacy that what I do now is what I have to do forever till kingdom come, right? And I think that is why some people are afraid to ask themselves a question of, what do I actually want in the season? So if you're someone where the season of your life, you're like, you know what? I'm good. I want to have money, but there are other things that I know are important for me to be well, then it's important for you to prioritize that. However, what I tell people is regardless of what camp you're in, whether you're going for the highest earned work or you're going for the, more comfortable earned work, the key is to know how to use the resources you have to be able to amplify it and build wealth with it. Yes, the amount of income you have coming in can be very helpful. However, it's not the only important factor, because if it was the only important factor, then everybody that earns multiple 6 to 7 figures will never ever be broke. And that's not the truth. So it's not just about what you earn, it's what you're able to plant. People say it's not what you earn, it's what you keep. I say it's what you earn and it's what you're able to plant. Because I believe that ownership is how you build wealth. So regardless of what option you choose, of whether you choose the comfortable one or the higher paying one, the key is what are you doing with the income that you're earning. If you have more of a work-life balance, it means that you actually have the luxury of clarity of thought. You have the luxury of like time to be able to plan strategically, decrease emotional spending, right? Which someone with a higher income may need to deal with because they may be working a lot harder and more hours and all that stuff. So there's no right or wrong. It's just a matter of being clear about what is important for you in whatever season you're in your life. But regardless of what option, wealth building is possible for you regardless of what you choose. And the keys, you still need to learn these timeless principles that's going to help you create more money, not just now but also in future.
So, what are some mistakes you see doctors make, and then how do you avoid them?
Absolutely. One of the most common mistakes we make is we trust anybody else but ourselves, right? Giving our power away. I cannot tell you how many times people say things like, well, my spouse is the one that takes care of the money, or I have a financial advisor, the one taking here, she's the one taking care of the money, right? I see you hiding your hand, right? The thing is, there's nothing wrong with those. And in fact, I dedicate a whole chapter to being the CEO of your finances in the book. There's nothing wrong with either one of those things. The thing, though, is to know that we cannot delegate our finances to someone. The same way that a CEO cannot delegate everything about running the business to everybody. Yes, you may choose to have an advisor. You can have an accountant. You can have a coach, right? But the goal is to empower yourself, because when you defer to someone else, there's still going to be that fear because you don't got it. You don't got it. They got it. If they disappear, you're screwed.
Well, my husband may take care of all of my finances, but as of this week,
Down with broke. Yes. Yes. And the thing is this, right? If you think about our people, you are a physician, I'm a physician. Not everybody that applies into medical school gets it. A significant percentage of people that want to become doctors actually don't make it, right? So it's fair to say that when you do make it, of course not everybody wants to be a doctor, so I'm not saying that if you're not a doctor it means you're not smart, but I'm saying like the things that we had to jump to get to where we are, our brains are different. So I really don't care how amazing your advisor is or how amazing people's spouses are. The bottom line is one of the best brains in the world is literally in your zip code, is under your roof, and you're keeping the best asset, one of the best assets we have, out of your money, out of your finances, right? And what I found is this, right? Is I have a lot of women that would come to me like they're my money program, and they would say things like, well, my husband was the one taking care of it. But then when they start getting into their finances and learning, they're like, actually, they did not got it. Like I thought they got it. I just was happy to defer to anybody else. But even those that choose to, that their spouses or their advisor are doing a good job, they ask better questions. They bring more things to the table. And so now there's something amazing that happens. Imagine, you're here, your spouse is here, your advisor is there if you have one, and they're rowing the boat, but you're not really rowing with them. Now imagine what happens when at least two of you guys are rowing the boat in the same direction. It's impossible for it to not get better. Now you start to ask questions. The same way we're looking in clinic and we're asking like differential diagnosis. How do I know this abdominal pain is like GERD or appendicitis or whatever? Like we're doing this diagnostic thing with our brain, and we start to do that with our finances. And suddenly you start to create even more path that anybody else had ever thought about before. And they're like, oh yeah, I didn't think about that. I didn't think about that. And so, that's why I'm a huge proponent of women getting into finances. The other thing is this: I've literally had people who we're in great relationships. Or I'm in a great relationship too, but things happen. I've literally had people that were in great relationships when we started working together, and within a year there was a change in the relationship. So things do happen. It's just we may be the one that's changed, they may be the ones that's changed, but I just don't think that our finances is something that is best left in someone else's hand, because when divorces happen, when people are not as well versed in their finances, they are more likely to leave more on the table because they just want to get away and just have some peace of mind away from all the drama of the money. But when we know our finances, number one is we get to make decisions in power. And if we choose to leave whatever on the table, it's because we know that we have the capacity to make more and create a new path for ourselves. So that's my spiel about that.
So when you coach doctors, are you coaching one-on-one or in groups? How does that work?
So I'm coaching in group. I have a money school. It's called the Money Coaching School for Badass Women Physicians. It's our wealth building community that I have the honor and privilege of really. I started it, and it's definitely more than me now. And what it is I have a group of women physicians, amazing, mission guided, heart minded, kind humans, the kind of people that you're like, you should, it's wrong for you to not be wealthy, right? So I get to partner with the amazing stuff. These are people that are like program directors, they're attendings, they're doing like political stuff, they're activists, they're doing diversity work, they're want to take care of their families, just like great humans. And I'm like, what the hell is wrong with us as a culture? It is so wrong for us to not put money in the hands of all these humans. So those are my people. Like literally people come into my community and I'm like, this is the best community ever. Like so diverse. This is where all the diverse people are talking about money. So what we do is we have a group like that. The coaching itself, it's a 12-month contract with us. They come in and they stay for 12 months. Of course, people can renew. We have people that have been in our community now for over like 2 years, for about 2 years or so. So people can renew. But what they do is we get coached. We get coached once a week, and I don't hang up until everybody that wants coaching gets coaching. So it's pretty much one, you get individual coaching in a group setting. There's also the foundation of money that I believe is important that unfortunately people are not being taught. It's not the general stuff. It's not the overwhelming, let's get you constipated amount of information. No, it's like concise 20% that you need to win 80%. And what I have is I have a course like that. So they get access to that indefinitely for as long, whether they're in our community or not, they get that indefinitely. But with us, with the 12-month contract they have with us, they're in there for 12 months. And so the goal is within the first 90 days, I want them to be where they would want to be when it comes to their financial education. And that's what the course is about. And then after that, every 90 days, every trimester, they focus on a different aspect, one or two aspects of wealth building, so that at the end of 12 months, they're doing things and not just learning, because that's not what we do. And I will be honest, you will hear my women say, Latifat will call us out on crap all the time. That's my job. I love it. I do it with so much love, zero shame in that community, right? They know where it's coming from. Zero. We don't do shame. We don't do judging people. We don't do that crap. And the key is I want them to go from whatever to owning. Ownership is my goal. I don't want you to come there and be an expert at budgeting. That's crap. I don't. Budgeting is not how you build wealth. Investing is how you build wealth. And budgeting or whatever you do becomes a how to get in that. So my entire focus is I want you to have ownership, and I want you to have what to be well, and I want you to feel wealthy in the general sense of the word. And that's what we do. And the ownership is, through the stock market, through real estate, through your own business, through investing in other non-real estate stuff. That's what I do there. So it's that networking piece of not just them networking with themselves, but also having access to my own network of people that are investing in ways that are more in line with the things that I want to see in this world.
I love that. That's amazing. Well, let's talk a little bit about your book. Let's pull this up here. Done with Broke. Where we? There we are. Congratulations. It's awesome. So I'm a very slow reader, so I did not get very far. But what really strikes me about it is you don't just talk about, like, I opened this book and I thought I was going to get step 1, student loans, step 2, fall asleep. But actually, it was really good. And your personality comes out in it, which I really like. Tell us a little bit about what goes into the not boring book about numbers.
It is a very non-boring book about numbers. And the reason why is if you're reading the book, I believe you have value. I believe you're amazing. I believe you're a badass. So we have nothing to prove. We're just here to learn how to manage our finances. That's it. Right. So I'm not here to throw numbers at you. I'm not here to throw big words at you. I'm here to help you transform so that you can be the CEO of your finances and be able to manage your finances. So what I do is I walk people through the process. And walking them through the process is really important because a lot of times when women are not doing money, we think it's because there's something wrong with us. And the thing is, there's nothing wrong with us. There's a reason why we are where we are today. And so I want people to understand the journey to where we are so that you have more empathy, you have more understanding, and you have more awareness. And you're like, that makes sense that I've had the story of my life when it comes to money. I am who I am because of the stories that I've taken and inherited over time. I did not even know I had a story. And now you're like, okay, now that I know, how do I now go forward to now create a different story, to create a different direction of finances for myself? So I walk you through understanding where you're coming from to where you are. I walk you through understanding your relationship that you currently may have with money, with yourself, with those around you, because most people don't know they have relationships with money, but they do. The reason why the numbers isn't sinking in, the reason why you're running in the other direction is because you have thoughts about money. And so your thoughts are all compassing together to become the relationship you have. So if we can start to examine that, evaluate that, then you're going to be in a better position to be able to with deconstructing so that we can now construct again. That's a goal. I talk about things like spending. Right. A lot of times the thing is stop spending, stop spending, stop spending. And women are like, tired of hearing that. But it's like, okay, listen, if you don't like to spend, I'm so happy for you. I'm actually not a huge spender. But the key is for my people that like to spend, then what we want to do is we don't want you to think there's something wrong with you. We just want to train you and train your money brain to start to see what you want to be spending at, what is adding value versus not adding value, things that are assets versus liabilities. Because when we start to train you, you don't have to stop spending. You just now start to spend differently in a way that builds your net worth. So those are some of the things that we cover in the book. But of course, there's a lot more details in there. And honestly, so the book came out now 2 days ago, which was my birthday, May 2nd. And we made Amazon bestseller that same day, which I'm super duper excited about. But the comment and the feedback that I've been getting from people, I'm just like, whoa. Like I literally had someone sent me a message that was like, I'm on page 40, and this is the first time that I've read a financial book that I felt like was written for me.
It's definitely different to any other book I've ever read on well, I don't read book on finances because they're
They were
not
not
your book.
written by me.
So, exactly. So, Done with Broke. Awesome. I love the title. Everyone needs to go get it. And it's 99 cents on Amazon. Is that this week only?
This week only, it's on
Okay,
99
guys.
cents on Kindle. So go get your copy, get for your girlfriends, get for your people. Like I want, and I've actually had the first review that I had on Amazon was from a non-physician. All the examples in the book, guys,
Wow.
I want to make sure I'm being transparent. All the examples in the book are examples using women physicians, right? But I've had 3 people or 4 people that I know that are non-physicians that I've literally said, "Oh my goodness, I didn't know that the stories of physicians were like this." So there's a sort of like a public educational piece as well, because people think that physicians are in medicine for the money, and when people start to understand that it actually costs physicians a lot of money to work as hard as we do. I think it is going to help the public understanding of why we do what we do in the first place, right? So the first review that I got was from a non-physician. She's read the book and she said she's going to read it a second time with her husband, and they're going to go through the worksheet that I have as part of the book. So,
That's amazing.
yeah,
Changing lives. I love it. I love, love, love it.
thank you.
Well, where can people find you?
So to find the book, which is now really, really accessible, which is exactly what I wanted people to be able to read it. I had a nurse practitioner reach out today on Instagram, like, is it okay if I read? I'm like, yes, go read the book. I want every woman to have money. But you can go on Amazon, Done with Broke, The Woman Physician's Guide to More Money and Less Hustle. I have a podcast which is called the Money Fit MD podcast, which is where I talk about all things money and mindset. You can go there, subscribe so you can listen to the things that I teach. I've had people tell me things like this podcast has helped them start investing, start looking at their finances, start having conversations around money that they were not having before. And if you're a woman physician, those are also great places for you to start. But if you're like Latifat, I'm done waiting, I'm ready to start, I really want the next 12 months to be the best when it comes to my finances. I want to do it in a community without judgment, without shaming, where I can be surrounded by powerful women that are also building wealth together. Then you can check out my money school for women physicians. The information is on my website, moneyfitmd.com. There is a tab that says work with me. You can click on there, or you can click on the money school at the top, and you can also learn more information about it over there.
Perfect. So everyone watching, go buy the book. Go buy Done with Broke. Go check out moneyfitmd.com. You will not regret it.
Thank you very much for having me here.
You're so welcome. And Dr. Latifat, before we wrap up, I want to share some exciting news with our audience.
Ooh, tell
I'm
us.
so excited to announce that in August, I'm going to be launching a masterclass. My kids would make fun of me for how I say that. It's a course that's going to be designed specifically for physicians who are looking to improve or find the right job for them. So we're going to go over resumes. I'm going to look at each person's resume in the course. We're going to prepare for your interviews together. We're going to go over everything. We're going to debrief after your interviews. I'll be on all the calls. It's going to be awesome. So please head out to my website, happydayhealth.co, not .com, happydayhealth.co. Check it out. Sign up for the waitlist so that you'll be the first to hear about it. And Dr. Latifat, you see doctors all the time who are in all sorts of interesting work situations. So, what are your thoughts? How important do you think it is for physicians to have these kinds of skills when they're entering the job market?
Oh, absolutely, super important. I mean, I'm like, that's amazing. Because the thing is this, we're not really taught those skill set, right? And you're not stuck. You're literally one skill set away from realizing that you're not stuck. And if that's
Exactly.
learning about your resume, learning how to look for jobs, how to position yourself, to interview, to be able to ask for what you want, but also know to be able to meet the needs, because their jobs also have needs they want to meet. So, every great negotiation leaves with both parties happy. And so, how do you do that so that you're not living thinking you don't have a choice? Because a lot of times we don't even think about what we want, right? So, I mean, absolutely, I think this is important. Go check it out, guys. Go get on the wait list so that when it's out, you need to empower yourself. We're not stuck. We have options. And the way we do that, we can't just say that, though. We need to gather the tools that we need to do that. And that sounds like what you just described right now.
Exactly. Let's get unstuck. And with your expertise in getting people to be financially liberated and mine in career development, I really think that everyone watching can benefit. So thank you
Absolutely.
so much for coming on the show, and check us out, moneyfitmd.com and happydayhealth.co.
Thank you.